The ITO keeps a watchful eye on the progress of its young chargers and their farmer teachers. There are 4 visits a year by locally based supervisors who set 3-month programs for practical and written work. The apprentices also attend classes, a great chance for networking with other apprentices in the district. Who's best to work for? Where are the jobs? At the practical level, these young people soak up advice. Greg and Jordan look over a maize crop that's just poking up and vulnerable to attack by pests.
So with the cutworm, what we're looking for is the maize plants. What'll happen, the cutworm will come across and he'll just drop them, straight like that. Almost a clean cut, almost as though somebody's gone along with a knife and cut them off.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for. So if you start seeing a bit of that, then let me know and we'll come out and have a look around, see if there's much more, because if there's a bit of a problem, we're going to have to get in here with some more spray and deal to the little suckers.
Is that a common thing to see something like this?
You will see it. You know, hopefully what you'll see is you'll probably see the odd bit every now and again, but when we start seeing big patches of it being levelled, it's a problem.
Apart from cutworm, is there any other pests that I should be looking out for in the crop?
Yeah, what we've got also, and you know, particularly around the perimeter, you'll see it as slug damage. Okay, you got the slugs that will be living in the trash and in the pastures next door, and they'll come out and they'll come along, and you know, you'll start seeing chunks taken out of the leaves.
It's mind-bogglingly expensive to buy a dairy farm these days, so do they want to own their own dairy business one day?
Oh, that would be nice. I think that's every dairy farmer's dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just work my way up through the chain, I suppose. Yep.
So you'd go share milking?
One day. So I hope to go to OIC of a larger herd next season or the season after, and then management, and then from there, hopefully share milking or farm ownership.
Very expensive things to buy though, dairy farms.
Yeah.
Does that worry you?
No, takes a bit of commitment, but it's all right. It works and it happens, eventually.
So, eventually. So you don't mind a bit of debt?
No. Comes with the goal, I suppose.
Every young farmer's dream is to, but whether it's a reality or not, definitely I'd like to get into management and large-scale management.
And this gives you a better leg up, does it, than if you hadn't done it?
Yeah. Just, I just nearly finished my level 3 and starting level 4 and see where I'm at after that.
And the last word goes to Greg. He's had 7 or 8 of these young trainees through his farm. So what's the calibre of these young people learning to work the land?
Oh, look, brilliant. And I mean, you know, what impressed me most too is the guys that don't come off farms. I think, you know, the majority of a lot of guys that I've employed haven't actually been brought up on farms. City kids, maybe they've had uncles or aunts that have that have owned farms. They've had a little bit of experience in driving tractors, maybe milking the odd cow, but they sort of come to you, I guess, you know, fresh, not knowing, and you know, you teach them everything, and you teach them your way, and it's good that way.
Welcome back to Sector Report. Next up, Dairy NZ's Bill Barwood tells us despite the mind-boggling prices for dairy farms, it is possible to turn dreams of ownership into reality. Well, Bill, welcome to the Sector Report here on Country 99 TV. Now, to begin with, can you give me an outline of what Dairy NZ is actually doing in the training and careers area?
Sure. Dairy NZ's an industry good organisation and it's totally funded by the levy paid by dairy farmers, and so its responsibility is to make sure that where required training is done at a level that's to the satisfaction of the industry. So the main thing is the big funding that it provides to agricultural ITO and supporting them. We've also got our own little PTE called Dairy Training that does some training as well. So it's at that level, at a sort of strategic level, to ensure that the industry's needs are met in the training field, by supporting agricultural ITO, through funding and ensuring that standards and cross-referencing is done in that way. Yeah.
So you're a fairly important source of funds, are you, for the Ag ITO?
Yeah, Ag ITO will get its funding from other industry good organisations like Beef and Lamb New Zealand, and also from TEC and so on. So, but the dairy industry's contribution comes from the levy that Dairy NZ collects and then funds agricultural ITO with that, yes.
So your staff that are involved in this sort of careers area, where do they come from? What sort of qualifications do they have?
Well, the staff that in the actual careers area, there's not that many of us. The dairy training, our Dairy NZ training organisation have part-time tutors, all of whom are pretty much all of whom are university graduates and part-time farmers, and they part-time tutors as well. Yeah. And the brilliance about the Ag ITO program is that the trainees on the farms can earn while they're learning. I'm responsible for another area in relation to getting graduates from university into careers on dairy farms as farm manager level and so on. So that's my program, is the Dairy NZ scholarship program, and working at that, getting graduates into the industry as well. Yeah.
So these are people who've come through a training system quite separate from what the ITO might be offering. They've gone through tertiary.
Yeah, like we fund 54 students full-time to go to Lincoln and Massey universities, $5,000 a year each, and that program has delivered up to, I think we've got just on 40 graduates out now as farm managers, share milkers, herd managers, that sort of thing. And the other graduates, there's 122 from the program. A lot of them are working as rural bank managers, seed reps, and scientists, postgraduate degrees and all that sort of thing, yeah. And for Fonterra as well, we've got people working there.
Right.
So it cuts across all those sort of things.
Do you work in with the dairy companies themselves? Particularly, obviously, Fonterra.
Our big emphasis is on farm. And so when the milk's into the vat, then Fonterra and the other processing companies come through. We do have links with them, obviously, especially at a strategic level. Around about 8 or 9 of our graduates who've come through and graduated from the scholarship program work for Fonterra, so there's another link there. And we cooperate with them in a number of different ways, working with regional councils to ensure that, you know, the sustainability of dairy farming is right up there, and the impact on the environment is mitigated and that sort of thing, yeah. So yes, there are definite connections there, and particularly at a strategic level.
Yeah, I mean, really, the companies can't just work in complete isolation from the rest of the supply chain, can they?
The strategy for New Zealand dairy farming was developed cooperatively with the dairy companies, along with Dairy NZ, and input also, I believe, from Ag ITO and various organisations like that. Yes.
Now, is it difficult to find enough takers who actually want to come under your wing and get onto the land?
Well, I can only speak for the program that I'm working with directly, and for last year we had 25 scholarship positions available at Lincoln and Massey, and we had 120 applications for those. So,
well, that's pretty healthy, isn't it?
So it is quite healthy, and what's encouraging is that we're getting people from Auckland and Wellington, Christchurch, as well as from the traditional dairying areas. So we've got...
there's quite a few townies who want to get onto the land.
Yeah, well, the former head boy of Maclean's College is in his 3rd year at the Ag Science degree at Lincoln for us.
Oh, really?
A girl from St Mary's in Ponsonby. Yeah. So you couldn't get much more urban than that.
No, you couldn't.
And she'd never been on any sort of a farm until she went to a Window to Dairying event in 2007. She is looking at becoming a farm manager the year after next when she graduates. So that's a pretty good success story. So
what are the pathways for these aspiring young dairy farmers into the industry? I mean, it must look pretty hard when they stand outside and look in.
Yes, but you've got to eat an elephant one bite at a time. so I think if you actually look at it and chunk it down, it is possible. There are various different pathways. I mean, there's the pathway where a person can leave school at the end of year 12 or thereabouts, around about 16 or 17, and get in with a good employer on a dairy farm and engage in Ag ITO training and get their National Certificate in Agriculture, and maybe move up also to get a diploma as well through Ag ITO training, or Taratahi or Telford, or one of those polytechs like that. And work their way up through the system. It's like any industry, you can't race to the top without doing the groundwork.
No, exactly.
And, you know, I've always used to say to students when I was at school, there's a 4-letter word ending with K, and it's work. And if you do the hard work, well then obviously, you know, you'll make progress. The level, if you're wanting people, some of the pathways, other pathways would be to go to university like Lincoln and Massey, get a degree like an ag science degree, and that would probably put you further up the chain in terms of starting off. So you'd start off as a herd manager, or maybe second in charge of a dairy farm, and work your way through. There are things called equity partnerships now, which are also make it much more possible. It is still possible to aspire to farm ownership, and many of the people we've got in our program do that. We've already got one person who graduated back in 2005 with a degree from Lincoln University, and he now is a farm owner near Collingwood. So he's actually, and he's about 28 or 29. So he's managed to do that in about 5 years. He'll obviously have a fair bit of debt.
Yes,
but
I was just going to say.
But he has been able to do that.
Yeah.
So there are various different pathways, and I think also if young people can find themselves a really top dairy farmer to attach themselves to, so that they mentor them and support them. And I know that at a strategic level, that's what the industry and Ag ITO are looking at, that, you know, upskilling people on the dairy farms, and making sure that they've got the skills and I guess the knowledge to be able to go through to that level of ownership. So although it's not easy,
it is possible.
It is possible.
Yeah, well, that's a fascinating insight, and it's good to hear those encouraging words. So thanks very much for your time, and in fact driving up to Auckland to talk to us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill Barwood of Dairy NZ there. I'll be back very soon with another edition of Sector Report. Remember, you can catch up with the program on our website. See you next time.